Sometimes the most dangerous scams are ones that are wrapped in the most unbelievable technology. We're now completed a deep investigation, as we often call it, a deep dive into NodeLink, a company claiming that a small device plugged into your home internet can power the future of decentralized infrastructure while generating daily rewards for participants. Does it sound good? Too good to be true? If it is, it always is. I've spent days going through compensation plans, token systems, lock reward mechanics, website claims, pitch decks, Zoom meetings, and the people actively promoting this opportunity. We're going to break down what's this little box actually supposed to do, where the money may really be coming from, and why so many of the claims still can't be independently verified. Because once you strip away the cinematics, marketing, Web3 buzzwords, and the future infrastructure narrative, some very serious questions start to appear underneath. This investigation isn't about hype. It's about evidence, mechanics, and whether NodeLink is genuine infrastructure and another recruitment-driven ecosystem hiding behind complicated technology language. Now, any other day, I would probably start over and read that again. But I think you may get the gist of what we're about to do. We have created a brand new, beautiful thumbnail just for this blog. And it really is an investigation. Now, before we went live, we showed you how we gate crashed into Craig's Zoom meeting, and Craig wouldn't answer our questions about this opportunity. He kept pointing me to a meeting that was going to happen at 7 a.m. Australian time or 9 o'clock New Zealand time, where he was going to show me this wonderful website and this little wee box here that when you open it up is just a little wee tiny computer with a flashing light that goes bing. And that there...
Never seen something like...
You've got to look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't always available when you go to the website, but they have got testimonials from people. Now, you tell me which one is real. See if you can play this game. And listen to the words. Now, these people are meant to be endorsing this little box. This lady likes her little box.
Hey guys, this is amazing. Unused bandwidth becomes useful stuff.
So that was a testimony from a lady in Germany.
Hey guys,
the same
this
lady.
Is amazing.
Hey guys,
never seen some.
Hey guys,
never seen
Where's she
something
going?
like.
I installed this small device at home and my life is changed. Discover how.
So this lady, that was from Italy.
I installed this small device at home and
I don't want to know what little box
changed.
she installed
Discover
at home.
how.
Just saying.
Never seen
something like this. You need to install it at your home. Never seen something like this.
Actually, this is funny because the actual person, I think I found something that I want to bring up to you. Now, this is really interesting. Oh, bugger. I haven't done something that I wanted to do, but I'm just getting distracted here before I read the blog. But we went through NodeLink and we found all these other companies that theoretically are offering the same type of computers. And this company here came to mind. And this is, I found this 2 years ago. And this was a company out there who have come up with a new box, because later on he will come out with how this box wasn't as good as the last box and you've got to get yourself a new box. And this is the new box. The old box was somewhere in here. Oh, there it is there. So you got the old box, new box, and that will be how the scam works. When you realize that the wee box didn't work, they'll tell you need to upgrade to a bigger box. But I just noticed when I was going through there that this lady...
Hey guys, this is amazing. Unused bandwidth becomes useful stuff. I installed this small device at home and my life is never seen something like this.
Right, you can't pause it. But look at the name on the box that she just held up. It actually is this brand. So these are where the boxes are actually really coming from, and they're just little computers. And then they have a bit of software installed on them, and you go in there, just like any of these other scams that we bust, you look at it and you see the scam software is telling you something's happened when nothing is happening at all. And the scam is the $300 you pay for the box. And the recruitment structure behind the whole scam is what the scam is. And it's all about recruitment, not about the wee box doing anything. Now, often I say that you can be selling toothpicks or airlines. It doesn't matter in a multi-level marketing scam, because you just need to recruit people. And if you stop recruiting, the product never takes off, because there is no real product. There is no real little wee box that you can put in your home that will actually allow other people to use your internet that they can't afford internet and do things that a simple internet connection isn't designed to do. I don't think your ISP would even allow you to resell your internet to a third party in the first place. Now, I don't know if that's true or genuine, but I know that if you read the fine print of your internet service provider, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't be able to put an aerial outside my neighborhood and share my internet with 15 neighbors around me. Just saying. And I've lived in the country, that wouldn't even work. But anyway, so through my investigation, I found out that the actual company behind these little wee boxes, ironically,
never seen
they have
something
even,
like this.
this lady, now look at this.
You need to install it at
Look
your
at the
home.
box she's holding in her other hand.
Something like this.
See? So the branding isn't even on NodeLink. So NodeLink has theoretically got their own branding. They're claiming that these little boxes are going to turn up in your doorstep that you pay $300 for, or whatever it is. And it's not even their own branding. So that was actually just batshit crazy, just right there. But anyway, if you haven't noticed that all these endorsements that you see are from people that all generate AI characters, they all say exactly the same thing. And all these clips are actually all exactly the same length. So if a company, just before we even go through the blog, if a company is prepared to use fake AI images to endorse their own boxes, then what else are they lying to you about? And why is this on the website sometimes and not all times? If you go to the website and you're sitting here and you scroll like I am, you get stuck here and you can't go through it. It's only pure genius that I managed to get past that homepage link. And then I scroll down and I'm stuck here again. I'm using the scroll.
Never seen.
See, you can't get past. What I'm saying, it's a friggin' crap website. It's crap. And also, to take it to another, oh my God, it worked today. Now, I've been here for ages clicking on their privacy policy, and their privacy policy takes you off to their NodeLink paper. Normally, I couldn't click on this. So we've gone through all the NodeLink Excel sheets and whatever it is, and and it's just stupid on stupider. So what does that mean? I want to show you something else because I'm on my high horse. Just while we're doing our research, I just wanted to make sure I actually posted that in there. I haven't actually bumped into Craig before, but we have bumped into Craig's friends before. And Craig's friends is this guy here, Bernie and Amy Passell. Now, they currently, won't know how I found this, have a covenant over their house. Because they've been part of another scam, their house isn't allowed to be sold because there's a court case pending where these guys are in the fire. They're under fire. When we first investigated this company, they were part of a company called WeWe Global. WeWe Global has rebranded itself to the Bitcoin era, and then they've rebranded it to another name. I can't even keep up with it. So when you go to Bernie's Facebook page, you can actually see that now he's promoting NodeLink, and it's just ridiculous. But what does he do normally? Well, here he is. There's Amy and whatever his name is, Jim's building inspectors. That's what they do for real work. These are not professionals who've come up with a brilliant idea. These are people that are trying to make a bit of side hustle money. But if you spoke to them on a Zoom meeting, they would tell you they've done very well for themselves and they're successful business people. It's a facade. You can even go through and find them. But there's Amy. There she is. And what she's got in her T-shirt, who knows? What were you going to say, Richard, in the background?
Yeah, the WeWe Global, that was the one where they were trying to get people to buy a cell phone that never came out, right? For like a year.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was a cell phone. And I even rang up and told them I wanted to buy $50,000 worth of their computers that were going to do mining for me. It was friggin' hilarious.
When you were talking about it earlier, I was thinking to myself, I think that's that one. But when you just spotted that AI image or whatever, I'm like, I bet it's that one.
Yep. And these people are in Melbourne, which is over the ditch. So it's just absolutely crazy. So we didn't do too much of an investigation, but I've seemed to be on this investigation for 3 days now. So it would be fair to say we've done a pretty big investigation. And the idea behind what we do is we want you guys to go to the internet and we want you guys to actually search for NodeLink. Is it a scam or legit? And when you do, you're actually going to find my blog coming up #1. And that was published 24 hours ago. And I haven't actually published this blog on all the other places I do. And look, and now you've got another link. Now you've got Scam Advisor coming up, NodeLink Network coming up, and so they are in Google Play. So what else they don't know is because it's got a multi-level marketing structure behind it, we actually have asked Behind MLM, which is Oz from Behind MLM, to do a review on it as well, and it hasn't turned up yet. Oh, look, and you can also buy these on AliExpress because I found, look at this. So these little wee computers, you can buy them for $132 New Zealand, which is around about $80 American. So for $80 American, they are selling you the same computer that you can buy so for $80 American, you can buy them on AliExpress. They're just mini computers. And NodeLink are selling for $300 US. So there's, just saying, if they're not buying them wholesale, there's at least $220 US worth of money sitting there, which they can use to pay people who recruit. So it's all about recruitment. These computers don't do shit. They're not going to generate you any money. And they will use a little bit of your money that you've overpaid for the wee computer to pay you back something, to feel like you're doing something. Then they'll encourage you to buy another computer. And you'll have a whole bank of these worthless little wee computers sitting on by your router, thinking that you're actually doing something like providing some utility to people that want to use a VPN around the world. Now, any VPN company that's using people's home computers to let you access websites around the world just would not happen, because the privacy laws would just ruin any theory about doing it. Imagine me having a computer sitting in my office here that you can access to search the internet, and that wouldn't be a breach of your security. Hey, Rich. Oh, I'm on AliExpress.
That's right. I saw something earlier. You know those robot dogs?
Yeah, I saw that ad too. Yep.
There was a video. He did like a video where he got the makers of the dog to send him the dog to do like a review. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to try to hack into this thing and dispel whether or not the server goes and sends the information to China.
Yep.
And he fucking hacked into the system, and it has like a firewall protection. And it turns out that the information actually does go to freaking China. It's like, what the heck? So that's a huge clue in this scam world. Like, what are they doing with people's information?
Right. So we've been busting another scam recently called BG Wealth Sharing, and everyone's been told to keep up to date with what's happening using a bit of software called Bond Chat. And Bond Chat is an app that you install on your phone, and basically you give them access to your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, your camera, and your speaker. And as much as this isn't really relevant to what we're talking about right now, it kind of is. Because if you go to my Ponzi schemes and scams, and you go to a scam that originally BG Wealth Sharing started out as CR Global LLC. And if you go into videos, these are videos of people when they were using the same scam company that's now using Bond Chat. This is Telegram. And these are clips of people that they've managed to spy on when they're not listening. Now, if you listen to this video here for a second, you'll be horrified to think that people are spying on you in real time. And here's the proof. Listen to this. So these are videos of people that have been recorded where they've just eavesdropped. So what you're listening to here is random messages of people's phones just being, the video cameras come on, and you can just listen to general conversations while they're talking. So with Bond Chat, we believe that Bond Chat's been designed in a way where you can spy on your community. So if you're in Bond Chat and you're doing screenshots, they actually can see and hear when they know that you're doing that. And that's how they keep the purity of their community, because anyone that talks negatively about the program gets kicked out. So that's when I saw that this CR Group LLC scam actually merged into BG Wealth Sharing, which I believe is $1 billion+ scam. They alleged that 900 people had signed up, 900,000 people had signed up for it. I don't have any proof of that, and I wouldn't believe that's true. So the idea of having a little wee computer installed in your house where you don't even know what software is running, and having it open enough so other people from other networks can tune in and theoretically access that computer and use your internet to do whatever they like with, is actually rings more red flags than I can poke a stick at. So the dangers of getting involved with NodeLink, thinking that you're actually now I can't prove that they're doing anything in the way of fraud. I can't find any proof, but they also haven't provided us any proof of what their claims. The whole storyline about what this company's claiming they're doing cannot be verified or validated, is the word I'm looking for. So what I normally do with my blogs is I read them because I think that helps get the message home. So the most dangerous scams are the ones wrapped in technology that people do not fully understand. If you don't understand it, then don't do it. It's really that simple. And they use terminology and jargon and bang words that keep you confused. For years, I've watched scams evolve. The language changes, the branding improves, the websites become slicker. But underneath it all, the same pattern keeps reappearing: promises of passive income, recruitment incentives diagnosed as community growth, complicated token systems nobody can independently verify, and endless claims about revolutionary technology that somehow always requires new people to put their money in. So the revolutionary technology that somehow always requires new people putting their money in. So all these opportunities just don't exist without new people entering the system every day, because if you really want to follow a good scam, you want to find out, you always say follow the money. But when we follow the money, we only find new money coming in that merit, there's no other income stream. That's what I'm trying to say. At first glance, NodeLink represents itself as futuristic, decentralized infrastructure project, a people-powered network where ordinary households can supposedly monetize their unused internet capabilities. The pitch sounds modern, technical. The talk about AI, VPNs, distributed infrastructure, decentralized systems, smart homes integrations, Bitcoin hashing. A community powered with digital services. Boy, even I'm finding this one difficult to read, which isn't hard. The presentation is polished. The language is carefully crafted for many people, especially those already interested in crypto and DePIN projects. It probably feels believable. So if you're interested in the technology, and I love technology myself, I use it all around me, and that's what you got to think of. If this sort of strokes your ego, then sit back and listen up. But once you dig deeper into the compensation plans, token mechanics, legal documents, and reward structure, a very different picture begins to emerge. What NodeLink appears to be building is not simply a decentralized infrastructure project. It appears to be a highly structured, recruitment-driven ecosystem involving locked tokens, internal point systems, participation units, multi-level commissions, referral bonuses, rank advancement, and long-term withdrawal restrictions, meaning once you put your money in, you can't get it out. All wrapped inside infrastructure terminology designed to make the model sound legitimate and innovative. And that's where the real red flags begin to wave themselves. Now, we did actually bring this up earlier on. I think I've still got it open. They had 4 different PDF PowerPoint presentations to show people, and this is not abnormal. And the reason why I'm bringing up this one is because this one here was all about the compensation system, because that's actually what it's all about. This one here will be to the people that know that they're promoting a system that isn't that real. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say this PowerPoint isn't the one that will get you involved in the technology side of it. But if you are a recruiter and you're into direct sales or multi-level marketing, this is the PowerPoint that they would want you to study, because this is not about, being part of a revolutionary ecosystem that's going to change the way the world operates. This is about how to scam money from your friends and family. And if you go through this PowerPoint presentation, which is downloadable from my website so they can't remove it, you will see that this whole company is structured after recruitment, and it actually has nothing to do with what they're actually pushing in front of you, a little box. It tells you the cost of each unit is $25. The machine supports up to 100 units, whatever that really means, I don't know, and I don't really care. But here it's telling you about daily rewards. And when you watch the simple presentations, it talks about level 1 and 2, and that's it. So they do that because they don't want to be called multi-level marketing. But with this presentation, when you scrutinize it and you read through it, it's all disguised. And you keep going about level 1, level 2, you're thinking, oh, it's just an affiliate marketing model. But as you get further and deeper into the 32-page presentation, the multi-level marketing side of it starts to show its real colors. And all I'm doing is I'm flicking through this. So here we go, the role system. Now we're talking about in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if you keep going, you've got, and then it splits, and now we're starting to get into the multi-level marketing graphs. Now we've even got pyramids turning up on the screen. And now we've even got a role-based bonus, daily cap, and all the terminology here is all just crap, poos and wheeze, multi-level marketing. I'm on page 25 at the moment. Now we're going to go hash discovery engine, secure connection rollout 2026. It just goes on and on. Anyway, I don't really understand it, but I can tell you that I put all that into ChatGPT and I see what's really going on here, and that's how we got to the blog. Zoom meeting that raised more questions than answers. As part of this investigation, we attended a Zoom link meeting being promoted by Craig. His last name is
Craig Trewavis.
Now, Trewavis. So Craig was interesting. As I showed earlier on, we landed on his meeting. We asked him questions he wouldn't answer.
Can you give me a half an hour Canadian time?
He made me wait half an hour time. He thought I was Canadian, didn't realise I was a Kiwi, quite funny. And then when we got to the end of it, we asked him a whole lot of questions he didn't answer. But if you want to, you can go click on that link, listen to that meeting. You'll hear that he's used marketing. He had somebody else set up his LinkedIn account. He had a picture of a Rolls Royce on there. He's claiming that he was somebody wealthier than he really was. And now he's blocked me on LinkedIn and he's trying to run away with his tail between his legs. So not emotional questions, not trolling, not disruption for the sake of disruption. We asked the exact kind of questions any serious investor or regulator would want answered before putting their money into the system. I asked him questions such as, where does the revenue actually come from? Who are the real customers? Why are the rewards tied to recruitment? What independent audited infrastructure exists? Who is behind the company? And how sustainable are the token economics? He couldn't answer those questions. He kept telling me to go to a Zoom meeting that was going to play at 7 o'clock that evening in Australia. Anyway, instead of directly addressing the questions, Craig repeatedly deflected and told us to come back later to another evening meeting where supposedly everything would be explained. That response itself was revealing, because legitimate infrastructure companies should be able to clearly explain their revenue model, their commercial clients, who's using the infrastructure, their terminology snacks, their compensation structure without needing people to sit through multiple recruitment presentations first. So these recruitment presentations are all there to numb the brain, to make you feel like that you're in an exclusive ground up opportunity. You're going to be one of the first. They give you all the hype, they give you the pressure techniques. Everything about these presentations are designed to make you believe it's true and genuine. But when you start asking the curly questions, they don't want to answer them because they don't know how to answer them. They can't answer them, and it's just fluff. One thing I've learned over the years investigating these opportunities is when simple questions consistently receive delayed answers, scripted responses, or emotional redirection, it usually means the underlying economics become uncomfortable once exposed to scrutiny. And importantly, I want to be fair here. I'm not accusing Craig of creating NodeLink. He's not the founder of it. He's just another person promoting it. He claimed that he hadn't been involved in technology.
New donation from Panda Crusher.
Panda Crusher, thank you very much. Appreciate the donation. That's really nice. But promoters still carry responsibility when encouraging people to into a system involving locked funds, passive reward structures, recruitment mechanics, and selective token ecosystems, especially when ordinary people may not fully understand the risk. Yes, so what I'm saying there, if I'm going to sit here and tell you to buy the latest iPhone, then I have some sort of responsibility to know what that iPhone does. I have to know who makes that iPhone. I have to know, how much profit I'm theoretically making on that iPhone, all sorts of things, how it works. But these guys, they don't know shit about what they're promoting. And also, it's a financial product. So theoretically, he should be a regulated financial advisor rather than somebody who's just trying to make a bit of side hustle money, claiming he's already a billionaire, done really well. Craig claimed that he had 2 real estate companies in America that he sold and now lives in Australia living the dream. Now, that's a load of crap, poos and wheeze, because if I said I used to own Remax or some other real estate companies, you would explain a little bit more than saying you had 2 real estate companies. I mean, let's just break that down. In New Zealand, we have real estate offices. So technically, he could have sold one of those, but he didn't have a real estate company. Maybe he did. And if he did, why didn't he name it so I could verify his bullshit? They just make up bullshit. They want to make out they're very successful people so that you think you can't question them. It puts up a wall. It's like saying I'm Bill Gates. All of a sudden, when you shake my hand, you'll be a bit more nervous because you're thinking, oh my God, Bill Gates is worth millions of dollars. I can't ask him any questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Psychological games. They're trying to create Stockholm syndrome on you so that you can go along with this.
I love that word. I love that word. What's it called? I've heard of that word before, actually.
Stockholm syndrome. Like if an abuser captures you, you're beaten, you're abused for so long that you begin to side with the enemy, with the abuser.
Right.
And you're psychologically drained. You don't realize that you're even going along with them. They're literally using psychological traps to capture your mind so that you go along with it. Like, they can't even figure out how to get out of the scam themselves.
And I always love it when they tell you how well they've done. And if I've done really well, I mean, as much as I love my YouTube community, but if I ever become a millionaire, I don't think I'm going to be in front of the camera every day. I'm just saying. But these guys are in there every day. So every day they're living the dream. They've done really well out of the internet. And here they are selling a $300 computer on the internet that claims it's going to change the world. Really? Is that their passion? Is that where they've got to in life? They haven't. They're just bullshitting you until they make it big. And we're all too scared to stand up to somebody who's wealthy or, I don't know. So let's just break it down to real layman's term. The unused internet story sounds clever, but the numbers don't add up. Now, I use all my internet, and I'm not going to share it with you. Maybe you're the same. Now, if it was as simple as using unused internet data, which I'm sure you're not allowed to, why don't they just get, like, their own internet and plug in 1,000 of these computers rather than have to borrow your internet? Why do they need your money? So they come up with something that sounds feasible, Anyway, listen, the core marketing pitch behind NodeLink is simple. Install a small device called a Nx1 home station. It's a box. Anyway, we'll call it station. Connect it to your home internet and supposedly help power a decentralized infrastructure network. It's great. In return, users receive daily rewards through participation units. Now, do you know what a participation unit is? Because I don't. So if you don't, I don't. Maybe you do. I don't know. The company repeatedly claims that households have large amounts of unused internet capacity sitting idle, and that NodeLink can somehow convert this unused bandwidth into revenue-generating infrastructure. You didn't know the gold mine you had sitting there with the unused internet. The language sounds believable because most people already understand they rarely use 100% of their internet connection all day long. But NodeLink never clearly explains the actual commercial demand behind the infrastructure. Who's paying for the bandwidth? Who wants my bandwidth? Where are the audited contracts? Where are these? How does this work? The mechanics behind it. This fascinates me. I want to know more. Which enterprise customers are purchasing these services? Now, we had another wee scam a wee while ago, and they were telling people that Walt Disney, Sony, Universal Studios, and Coca-Cola had already got together, and they had a problem, and they wanted to generate adverts, and they needed an organization for people to rate the videos that they were producing. So then they could figure out what advert works best for them. So those four entities that got together and then got this company that was running the scam, but the company wanted $1,200 US off you, and then you had to rate 5 videos a day. They only took you a minute, and then they'd pay you $40 US a day. And this is what they were telling you. So if this company here, for example, has got a demand of some organization wanting to use this service, like, is it NordVPN? You know, if NordVPN said, hey, we can't afford to rent service space in commercial premises and we need to rely on individual home users' internet connection to provide the infrastructure for our network, can you guys help us set that up? We would need to, that would be amazing and more unrealistic. But why wouldn't they say that we're working with a company called NordVPN if that was the case? You get where I'm coming from? You would actually be able to list the companies that are using your services if that claim was validated. But there's no validation of their claims.
There would be patent pending. There's no patent pending on the scam side, and if the NordVPN wanted to be involved, they would have their own patents.
Well,
So
that's brilliant. Well, that's true. Yeah, and that's exactly right. There would be a patent on this type of technology, and you would be showing the patent owner and the association. And also, these companies, their website domain name is 10 minutes old. So this whole company idea has all started up in a big bang, and they've even going to be launching it soon. And already the whole concept is void because it's bullshit. But anyway, this is what they'll tell people so they can carry on doing multi-level marketing sales. How much independently verifiable revenue exists outside the NodeLink system itself? That's the question. Those answers are either vague or missing entirely. Instead, the company leans heavily on futuristic language about AI workloads, decentralized systems, future integrations, edge computing, privacy tools, and infrastructure for the next generation of the internet. Wow, these wee boxes won't last that long. That distinction matters because there's a huge difference between a functioning infrastructure company with automated commercial demand and a tokenized ecosystem built around future promises. At the moment, NodeLink appears heavily dependent on participating participants buying machine, activating participation units, and recruiting additional users into the system. This is a completely different business model. So, like it's all about recruitment and about people buying these boxes. And if you go back to their website, I think we actually managed to find a graph where they indicated how many people had these machines actually going, which was even funnier than shit. I don't even know if I can find it, but there was a graph. Be with him and we look at, because it is quite funny. So if you go to how it works.
None of it's real. None of the data is real. It's all paid promoters, actors.
Well, we've got the AI people, but there was actually a graph where you could actually see. I think you could see, or maybe it's here. No, you have to log in. It was so funny.
Doesn't that what they're doing like that? Doesn't it make you want somebody to sponsor us? Like $1 million a year to go into the scam, right? They want us to bring $300 to the table. Okay, now we got the technology on the table. Let me get on the other line with the police. I'm going to have them come, and I'm going to say, hey, I was supposed to get this thing, and I got this whole other package, and I'm not certain what this is. This might be spy technology from freaking China. Yeah. So let's get to the bottom of this. Let's establish a statement on record. Let's establish the case, because if you're not going to help me prove that it's a crime, I need to have that on my local docket. That's the level of awareness that we need to bring to the audience for them to understand. Like, these people get away with it because people don't ask questions. Where is the person on the Zoom call asking the question, who invented the technology? Is it a white white label product? Did you guys buy a pallet of these things and you're trying to pawn them off on people?
That's it.
Who created it?
Yeah.
It was an AI. Well, who did it?
So when it all falls over, it's going to become your problem, and they're going to tell you that you didn't do what they told you should do, and they will return this all back on yourself. They will say, so yesterday, I found this page. Yesterday, active nodes were 4,950 something. Today, we've gone back to 4,500, and it's just going up every minute. Now, this graph is meant to represent to you, is meant to represent to you actual nodes that are plugged in around the world. So all of a sudden, while I'm sitting here, 100 new nodes have gone online. So yesterday, 5,000 nodes, give or take 100. Today, 4,500. But just because I've visited the website today, it's actually started from 4,500. So we've lost now 5,000 nodes. If you look at it, I think we lost Richard then. If you look at this, it's all bullshit. So if it's all bullshit, then why are they allowed to? Anyway, why are they allowed to have this graph on their website? Because this is not true and genuine. Just like we saw earlier on, all the fake AI people endorsing the products that went without their brand on it. Now we've got a graphic here that has now gone up to 4,675 nodes, which if I sit here long enough will go up to 5,000 nodes. And mathematically, 5,000 nodes isn't enough to run the infrastructure around the world. And not only that, 61 countries. I'm pretty sure yesterday it was 80 countries.
We'll be right back.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Don't go to sleep on me. That's an elephant. I don't know why, but I like elephants. I think it's because my mum said no one's talking about the elephant in the room. I hope you're enjoying the podcast and you don't want to or even think about changing the record. I've got some really cool sound effects and I just had to find a place to use them. I can do explosions. I've even got a gunshot and a boom. Isn't that quite cool? Anyway, I just wanted to wake you up. Wake up and we'll get into it. And by the way, just grab a drink. I'm going to grab a glass of champagne. Let's carry on. That's good. All right. Grab a coffee if you like one as well.
That website is probably just like the other night with that Nico website that we we searched the source code and found out that it's just built into the website to give you fake numbers.
Well, definitely. I mean, that's what they're doing. But if they're willing to deceive people with, this is a 100% lie graph. This is not connected to real nodes, but they're giving you the impression that it is. And if that's the case, then why do they lie to their customers at this end of the saga? Because they want you to sign up. They want you to recruit other people. And it's just like a veneer. And if you don't know what a veneer is, if you've got a beautiful table and you get a chainsaw and you chop it through the middle and you realize that it was all full of that cheap wood, and then you had this little strip of wood on it that looked genuine, that's what these websites are designed to do. So they're there to deceive people. Hey, Pixel, come here. Come up here. All right, Pixel wants a pat. He wants a W. Right, so here we go. So it's all about the compensation plan. Looks more like multi-level marketing infrastructure. The terminology gets the attention. The compensation plan reveals the real business model behind it. This is where things get difficult to ignore. As I dug deeper into NodeLink, I eventually located the internal compensation PDF that appears to explain how the ecosystem actually is designed to function behind the marketing language. What stood out immediately was the sheer amount of detail dedicated to recruitment structure, participation scaling, matching bonuses, downline activity, and reward distribution systems. Right, so those bits there, all those terminology that got my tongue twisted, are all about recruitment. The public-facing branding focus heavily on decentralized infrastructure, passive participation, AI security tools, Bitcoin hash discovery, VPN services, and the futuristic Nx1 device sitting quietly inside your home. But the compensation material paints a very different picture. The document repeatedly refers to community participation, direct bonuses, power-up bonuses, matching bonuses, and role qualification system based on organizational growth. That's recruitment. One section explains that infrastructure rewards increase when participants personally sponsor 5 active participants. Another defines active participants as people who own a machine or purchase participation units. That distinction matters because it shows the system is not solely independent on operating hardware infrastructure. Wow, that's complicated. People can participate financially without even owning a machine, being promoted as essential to the ecosystem. So basically, you don't have to get a box. You can basically just recruit and make money. So this is all, it's just stupid shit because it's just recruitment. And it's, this is the 5th brand of the same company doing the same shit. The deeper I read into the compensation document, the harder it became to ignore the familiar MLM mechanics underneath the terminology, the technology narrative. Rank progression, referral percentages, organizational volume requirements, line qualifications, matching bonuses, and locked token rewards are all clearly structured into the ecosystem. The system includes direct referral bonuses.
I didn't know there was crypto involved until you just said that.
Well, they said there was no crypto involved in this one. It was a straight box. But when you go through the model that they had in their infrastructure, it actually talks about crypto. So it's like it chucked in an extra. I think what they were alleging, because I know the previous scam they had, that they were doing cloud mining. So, you don't need to have a machine that's got smoke coming out of it like Crypto G's machine and it's called the Beast. You just basically can log into a web page and you can see things happening on a bit of software, and that's how they mine for crypto these days. And I'll tell you something else. With these machines that claim to do crypto mining, they're actually mining worthless tokens. They're not mining Bitcoin, because the amount of energy you need to mine for Bitcoin is astronomical now, because as Bitcoin got stronger and bigger and larger, it takes more energy to actually mine for Bitcoin. So they've come up with a system that looks like you're mining for these worthless tokens. But the trick is they're telling you that one day these worthless tokens are going to be worth something because the company's going to be worth something. So if you're an early adopter, which is a lovely word they love using, you're going to be in to win. But the reality is the company's never going to take off. And if it does take off, it will die because of multi-level marketers have killed it. It's just a scam.
Yeah, we lost count how many, the to be in the future investment trading. That's what it is.
Oh,
in the future.
Everything's in the future. Nothing's in the present. I like to invest in the presents, Yeah. I mean,
Danny, right now, I'm going to buy you a $20 bag of coffee right now. So then that way, next week, you're going to tell me you're going to go cut your lawn. And then Danny doesn't even cut his lawn. He has somebody cut it for him.
Well, that's the same. That's the same. That's exactly right. It's like me saying, I want to come cut your lawns, and you ask me how much it's going to cost, and I go $20, but I never turn up with my fucking lawnmower. That's exactly right. And it's like, and that's what all these schemes are. I'm going to mow your lawns. And then you ring them up and go, I paid you. I actually put myself on a monthly subscription to get my lawns mowed, but you've never turned up. And you go, I'm going to though. And you've got to have faith. You've got to have faith. Yeah. And then, yeah. And then not only that, I'm going to actually show you pictures of me mowing somebody else's lawn. And then I'm going to have lawnmower sounds. And that's going to make you believe I actually do have a lawnmower, but I'm never going to turn up mow your lawns because, and then I'll come up with excuses that cutting the lawns is actually bad for the environment. And you wouldn't want to hurt the environment, would you? It just gets stupider and stupider. And we've heard all the excuses, but it's always the same pattern. It's always the same shit. If you
don't have your lawn cut, what is it going to look like in your neighborhood when the whole economy of the world crashes because the dollar is toppled and Bitcoin's the only currency in the world? Everybody else in the neighborhood's going to have their lawn mowed, but you.
I think I've realized your sound problem breaks up when you get too animated, because when you go above a certain level, I think it starts breaking up. But I got most of that. We've just got Magic has just said in the chat room that I will subscribe to your Lawn Hub. So we can start up a Lawn Hub business. Lawn Hub. That sounds very familiar to something else. Anyway, this system includes direct referral bonuses, ongoing commissions, matching rewards, organizational structures, rank qualifications, and leadership style advancement system. Now, this is part of the ecosystem that I didn't know about, really, because I was just buying a little box to plug into my internet. They tell you that when you plug these little boxes into your internet, that you just plug in, there it is, you plug it in, and that's it. You're done. And that is never a truer word spoken, ladies and gentlemen, because these little boxes, you literally do plug them into your internet, because you can plug in anything to a power socket. It might blow up. But the reality is you plug it in and that's it, because nothing happens. So yes, a light must come on. I would say it could even be a fire hazard. But when you come in and compare that to the other side of the business, which is the recruitment, it's so complicated that this is not simple. You don't just plug in this multi-level marketing component. You've got to know all about the matching rewards, the rank qualifications, the leadership style advancement system. That's more complicated than plugging in a box. The moment you see downlines, matching bonuses, qualification ranks, optimizational leagues, and recruitment-based advancement, you're no longer looking at a simple infrastructure sharing platform. You are looking at a structured recruitment compensation model. And it's even a tongue twister to say. One of the biggest red flags is that users unlock the highest reward tier by owning. One of the biggest red flags is that users unlock the highest reward tier by owning an Nx1 device and recruiting 5 active participants. So if you've managed to find 5 idiot friends that think that this box is going to change their life, and you have one of those and you've got them all running at the same time. Now, remember, we just looked at the website and we saw 4,670 odd people that have plugged in these computers. You actually have to recruit 5 of those people yourself. That is incredibly important because the infrastructure performance should logically depend on bandwidth contribution, uptime, computer performance, network demand, or customer usage, not recruitment. Oh my God. Whew. Changing the language from community growth instead of recruitment does not fundamentally change the mechanics underneath. Whew. Now we're on to a new paragraph here. The daily rewards raises serious questions. The system promises daily rewards tiered to participation units. What the hell is a participation unit? I mentioned that before. They cost $25. Okay. And the company openly displays reward estimators projecting potentially daily, monthly, annual returns depending on how many units and participation active. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to read that paragraph because even me, that's tricky. Listen
Each
to this.
participation unit costs $25, and the company openly displays reward estimators projecting potential daily, monthly, and annual returns depending on how many units a participant activates. On the surface, the numbers may not appear dramatic, but once you start multiplying those obligations across hundreds of units and thousands of participants, the scale of the financial liability grows extremely quickly.
Yeah. And I can see Craig sitting there now watching my video going, oh, this guy doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand the internet. He doesn't know anything about. And then I'm going, but you said on the video that you didn't understand anything about crypto. And this had nothing to do with crypto. And I'm going to go, well, maybe we both don't understand it. Maybe we just stop and get a real job. I'm happy to go to the supermarket if you will and work there. Beep, beep. Sounds like a beep, stress-free environment to me rather than this state-of-the-art crypto stuff we're all looking at. Okay, and that leads directly to the most important unanswered question in the entire ecosystem. And what is that question? Where is the independent, verifiable, external revenue supporting these payouts? Where is the money coming from? In other words, that was not my favorite question to ask, because if the majority of money, incoming money, is coming through machine purchases, participation unit activations, locked token deposits, and continuous onboarding of new participants, then the economic structure starts looking dangerously circular. See what happens? New people stop paying in, the whole system falls over. NodeLink repeatedly states that rewards are not guaranteed, but disclaimers alone do not remove the underlying concern. In fact, one of the most revealing aspects of the project is the consistent contradiction between, is it contradiction?
Contradiction.
Yes, contradiction between the legal language and the marketing behavior surrounding it. So we went through all the terms and conditions, the whole 9 yards and everything you could ever think of, and we basically looked at their claims versus their legal warnings and terms and conditions. On one hand, the company insists this is not an investment. So how can a company that claims that this is an investment recruitment company claim that this is not an investment? What are you doing it for then? Saving the planet? But on the other hand, the ecosystem is filled with projected earnings, participation incentives, referral rewards, matching bonuses, and structured compensation systems tied to the growth and recruitment. That contradiction matters, of course it does, because the company appears to spend enormous efforts distracting itself from legal jargon. So what I think I'm going to about to say here, because this is getting a bit late in the evening for me, I've been going for too long, is basically their terms and conditions say one thing and their marketing language says another thing, and they've gone to amazing lengths to try and distance them from being an investment company.
Because the company appears to spend enormous effort distancing itself legally from investment terminology, while simultaneously promoting what many ordinary people will clearly interpret as a passive income opportunity.
Yeah, and the other thing I really want to focus on, if we went back just for a second there, Rich, if we went back to the original NodeLink, right, and I go back to the people promoting, and I go back to Bernie here, and if I went back to what Bernie was originally promoting, which was extra whatever this is, I will find the same So these are the presentations from previous opportunities that he was promoting. The legal terminology and the structure of the scam, they use exactly the same. So when you get to, I can't even think of what I'm talking about here. Or when you get to the privacy information, it goes off to this white paper thingy, which has all these. It's like this is the docs. So I could literally change the word NodeLink.now to their last scam and find the same legal jargon and the same software. It's exact. I've done it 3 times. I've been following this for about 3 or 4 years. So the whole company, I know it's the same company, and that's the part I was sort of trying to get across here. But I wish I could, if I looked at this, if I looked at their previous PDFs and the people behind it, it's just the same shit but different day, really. Oh, there we go. Homify. Homify, they literally had these computers, and this is just another, same shit, different day. There they are. Look at this. So here's the same computers dressed up as Extra Pro, and these the same computers, and they're even made by the same company. And this was a completely different scam. But this one started at 100, 500, 1,500, 4,500. And they were promising very much similar, the same stuff, except this one was telling people that you're going to actually, you're going to make money from, I don't even know, I can't remember it. It's so long ago. But when you see the same people associated to the same company and they're still pushing these stupid same computers out, and it's a different brand. And then not only that, I go off to another company brand, and this is when this one failed. They jumped into the next one, and this is where Richard was talking about how they had a phone coming out, and they even had pictures of them holding up the phones in a phone manufacturing place, claiming that they were making. There they are. There's the same stupid computers.
The phone had a miner in it, right?
Well, yeah, it was changed so many times. So, and this is here. So here's the same looking computers claiming that they were doing minting. I don't know. There's a difference between minting and mining, and if I got that wrong. But here's your phones there, Rich. They've got them in the picture. So we even tried to find where they were making the so-called phones, and they didn't exist. But look at this. This is what they're selling. Packages. You just look at this. So here we are. Look at every time you invest more, you get a bigger computer. I mean, how dumb is this? I mean, and if you hadn't seen this, you might think, well, this is the real deal. And this is, so we've started off with we've actually started off, here's the other one. So we've got Wee Global, and then it's morphed into the blockchain era. And then it's changed now to, I think it's called X Pro. And I think it's actually rebranded itself since then. And then what you do is you can come back to this one. And this was the one where they were claiming, and even the CEO of this company has reached out to me claiming that he was paid to have his name out there. And now he wants me to remove his name from my website because he's trying to get a job at the moment because he's jobless. And when you search for his name, it comes up everywhere as a scammer. And I said, well, and
that's what it's about, bitches.
Yeah. And I said, well, and he said, oh, but I didn't know what I was getting, being part of. And I'm going, well, we did. And you should have, here they are. There we go. So this is, now it's LFI Pro is the guy that was part of it. And there's videos of him endorsing Wee Global. And these are the same stupid computers. And it's a completely different company. I wish I could find it because it was such a funny one. There it is.
Why don't you look for it, and I'll give a little recap real quick.
All right, do that.
So the thing about the Danny DeHack show, y'all, to the audience, to the replay, to the premiere, the fact is that we're creating documentation coinciding with the blog, because what happens is there's a set group of these scammers. We know a lot of them come out of the compounds, scamming compounds where people are human trafficked into this disaster. Okay, but the problem is that awareness needs to take place. years ago, because we can see that these scammers are like the leaders, the promoters, like Danny just said, the CEO. And what needs to happen is we need to see it for what it is. So whenever Danny creates a blog, the documentation comes along so perfectly because AI understands what's going on. AI has been following Danny for like 2 years now, and it almost says it better than what we were thinking. It like proves the point of what we were thinking about things, and then it puts it into the blog. So then that way in the future, when we come back and see a face and put a name to a face, they might change their name, they might change an alias, but it always circles back to documenting who these people are. And when Danny started releasing these books, what could start to happen is, hey, you know what? We got X, Y, and Z. We got 1, 2, and 3, 4 of these scams. They're all connected somehow.
Yeah.
But like if you have a pamphlet to go with this one right here tonight, the pamphlet would show this is the so-called technology for the 3 previous scams. And then you could go in the back of the freaking book, pamphlet book, and see the glossary of who the scammers are.
Yeah.
And then it could be timestamped for Danny's sake to show, hey, Danny exposed them on this date a year ago, this date 2 years ago. And then that's what it all comes down to is we're not doing this for publicity. We're doing this because nobody in the world is doing real journalism. This is not activism. This is the freaking documentation that needs to be on the blockchain. So you cannot reverse it. So you can see it in real time. That CEO needs to be on the blockchain for all time. So if anybody ever needs to see who the person really is, he can't refute it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll recap.
No, I got it.
Is powerful. They're tools. And when it comes together, it works phenomenal.
So this guy here was claiming to be the CEO of the very first company they started up. And this is the guy that's now begging me to remove his name from the internet because he can't get a job. So just watch this for a second, all right? If it plays. Probably don't need that music. Okay, so he was waving around, prancing himself in there. He was finished up being a nobody, and this is how scams work. So this guy is claiming that they're using the state-of-the-art technology. He can go into his office, and the company that was behind Lolo Pay, which was like a payment gateway like Visa or MasterCard, here he is talking about it. Oh, hold up.
Em Dubai, nós hoje estamos sediados aqui no Emirados Árabes Unidos, temos 200 funcionários aqui na nossa operação e hoje, no vídeo de hoje, eu gostaria de contar pouco mais.
What he's saying is I'm getting paid to promote some technology that I'm claiming is going to change the world, and I got $30,000 for doing it, and I'm happy to show you my offices.
Graduado em gestão pública. E em 2018 eu me tornei consultor financeiro aqui.
Anyway, you get the idea. It's in a different language. Anyway, the funny part of it is this company was, and if you don't think we had an impact in it, this company was going to do a launch in Melbourne. I'm going to play it. Watch this. Melbourne and the 19th of Adelaide. So they did Melbourne and they did Adelaide, and then we got involved. We got a front page of the press here in the newspaper here in Christchurch. They got the Gold Coast. And then the next day, I told them I was going to pay $50,000 for some computers, and then I rang up the guy that was going to sell me the $50,000 computers and said the FMA here in New Zealand has reported that you're running a scam. The guy that you just saw prancing around on the stage was too scared to come to New Zealand, Christchurch. I rang up the Novotel and told them not to host the event, which is where they were. They cancelled Melbourne, and they cancelled that guy there was meant to be the CEO of the company. His name's Delgado, or not Delgado, but I'm going to play his name.
Diego Indrizzi.
Yeah, and he was too scared to come to Christchurch, New Zealand, and decided to hold the plane up in Sydney while he got his luggage off. It was absolutely crap. But what I'm getting at here, and I think Richard's saying the same thing, is here that these companies, if you know that they started off as Wee Global, then they morphed into, all these other brands. And then we come along and do a wee piddly blog on this little wee computer that seems harmless. Now, this computer, when they started off, was going to change the world. It was going to do cloud mining. It was going to do minting of tokens. It was going to provide people with a passive income that you'd ever dream about. And now it's come back to being a little device you plug into your internet that does nothing. And they're still claiming that it's going to change the world. It's absolutely, it's just unreal. And the tokens locked. I mean, the tokens that this thing, I don't know. Anyway, let's read about this. Locked tokens and controlled withdrawals created another layer of risk. So when you invest in this company, you can't take your money out. It's gone burger. The strongest warning signs inside NodeLink ecosystem is the internal token structure and the amount of control the platform appears to maintain over liquidity, your money, withdrawals, and with reward access. No one has ever been able to get their money out of the system other than the recruiters. So you got the NLK tokens, which are the worthless tokens. If any mining is happening, you're going to be told on a computer screen that you've generated tokens that are worth shit. And now, I've never heard of this, but USDN, don't know what that is. USDN-W, I don't know what that is. Internal utility balances, which means you can see a figure on the screen that thinks you're rich, but you can't get the money out. I bought some comics using an app, and they were whatever the big comic book company is around. And I remember buying them, thinking I used to sit up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and buy these NFT magazines, Marvel. And Marvel were dropping these magazines onto this platform, and you could bid them for $7.50. You'd get you could potentially get a limited edition magazine worth $1,000. And I actually got a few that were worth $200 or $300, but I could never get my money off the platform. So it was, but I bought about, I don't know, $70, $80 worth of these magazines, Marvel magazines, a brand that I like. And then all of a sudden I had this artificial money sitting on the platform and I couldn't get it off. All these platforms are exactly the same. You can't get your money off. Internal utility balances, reward lockups, and delayed release mechanisms. Oh, I can't even read that paragraph, so we're going to go for it.
And delayed release mechanisms tied to participation activity.
So I'm going to read this too.
At first glance, these structures are presented as part of a sophisticated long-term ecosystem designed to support stability and future growth. But once you start reading the compensation documents carefully, the picture becomes much more concerning. The documents describe portions of rewards being locked away for years before participants can fully access them. Other sections reference.
So anytime you go to take your money off these platforms, they tell you got to think big. You got to, you can't just take your money on and off the platform. Like if I bought a Bitcoin today, I could sell it 10 minutes after I bought it, and I wouldn't even lose that much money. But these platforms are designed to get you to believe that they're going to grow the same as Bitcoin, but you never take your money off the platform. How about this? 3-year token locks. For God, this company's rebranded itself 4 times in the last 3 years. 90-day vesting periods. I don't even know what vesting is.
Vesting.
I don't even know what vesting is. Internal conversion systems, whatever that means. Deposit fees. So the fees, great. And how can you have deposit fees for something that's worth nothing? So I want to come along there. I want to use Monopoly money, and I'm going to exchange Monopoly money to other Monopoly money, and there becomes a real fee inside the system that costs you probably USD. I don't know, but I'm just guessing that you'll have to actually pay USDT fees, real money, for exchanging artificial money from one amount to another. You get what I'm saying? So it's like having a free electric car, but every time you go past the service station, there's a real monetary fee that you have to pay to drive past the service station. I give up. But it's just
what you're saying. It's they want you to pay money for the future idea. They have a concept, but nothing actually truly exists. There's always a business concept. There's never an actual service. There's never an actual product.
So what this one's saying, Rich, is actually saying there's deposit fees. So to deposit your money into the game of Monopoly, they're going to charge you to do that. But the actual money in Monopoly isn't real, but they will take real money from you. It's like going to the casino. That might be a good way of doing it. You go to the casino, they will only let you in if you pay a cover charge with real money. But
what I mean with what you're talking about with Monopoly is like you pay the $20 cover fee, like you say, but when you go in, you got to put something. You put money on a card and you swipe the card to do the slot machine.
Yep.
Same with the Monopoly board game. You got to pay to get the little game piece.
Yeah.
You got to pay to purchase the game piece, and then you got to pay a fee to use the game piece.
Yeah.
It's all like they don't own anything. Like, who are you to charge me my money on my money? You charge me interest on my own money, just like a bank.
Well,
the bank is gonna charge you a fee.
The other argument could be that why can't I use the Monopoly money to pay the fees if the Monopoly money is real?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always that psychological trip that in America they have the shell game.
Yeah.
They just move your money around, and you're like, oh, this is cool because you're looking over here at the technology, but when you're looking on the other side, there's pocketing your money.
Yeah, so if you don't understand it, then don't do it. And if you do understand it, let me know because I'd need some education because I don't get it either. And because it's complicated doesn't mean it's not a scam. I'm telling you, this is a scam. It's just ridiculous. That matters because many crypto-based schemes maintain the illusion of stability by restricting the liquidity. If participants cannot freely withdraw funds, it becomes significantly harder for outsiders to determine the true financial conditions. I don't know what that means. Hold on 1 minute.
Condition of the ecosystem.
Condition of the ecosystem. A platform can appear stable far longer when large proportions of the balances remain locked internally instead of being exposed to open market pressure. Now that's really true. That's actually a really, really good, important thing. Because I always, like NFTs, I've always thought were a waste of time. The only way to gauge the price of an NFT is by what somebody paid for the last NFT. So if you go back to my Marble magazines, they used to drop 1,000 of these magazines at 3 a.m. in the morning. And if I clicked there and clicked on the button, buy, I'd pay $7.50 for one of my Marble magazines. And I was lucky enough to get one. And then 20 minutes later, they would turn up my Marble magazine and it would say, you have a limited edition Marble magazine. So then all of a sudden, they would work out what the last limited edition magazine went for. And if it was $400, then I would put mine up for sale for $390. Or I could put it up for auction and somebody would go along and pay $410. Now, all of a sudden, everyone else's limited magazines were worth $410 because that was governed by what the last person paid for it. So with these systems, they will tell you what their tokens are worth. And if they don't let anyone buy and sell them, how do you know that that is actually the market value? So they just make up a figure. Now, there's been a few tokens dropped on some exchanges recently, and they won't allow people to set the value of what they believe their tokens are worth. They will actually tell you to list your token at 0.000.1, and then when people start buying them, then the value of your tokens will go up. I think that's how it works, and don't quote me on that. But with these tokens on their own, they're not on the blockchain, they're just inside a game of Monopoly. They will tell you that $100 is worth $100, but we don't call our $100 $100. We call it what we had back there. We called it something stupid like a USDN. So you go in with $100 USDT or USDD or US dollars, and then they'll exchange your money into their version of 100 USDN. And now all of a sudden you're meant to believe that these are worth the same value. But what's just happened is they've stolen your US dollars and given you a label. Yeah. So don't fall for that stupid thing. Anyway, once you introduce internal stable coins, delayed vesting systems, I'll hold it a minute. We got down to here to it becomes equivalent to, yeah. So it's going to be really hard for you guys to figure out exactly what the worth is of your token is if nobody has actually ever traded the money. Because the true illusion of stability comes from when you start trading those tokens with other people who are prepared to pay the money. If participants cannot freely withdraw funds, it becomes significantly harder for outsiders to determine the true financial condition of the ecosystem. A platform can appear stable far longer, but I think we already read that. Once you introduce internal stablecoins, delayed vesting systems, locked participation rewards, artificial liquidity controls, and withdrawal restrictions, it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish genuine economic strength from emerging scarcity. You're in it. Oh, I forgot the word.
Engineered scarcity.
Yeah, so value becomes from scarcity. It's like gold has got up in value at the moment because gold's hard to get, so it's scarce. Also, when it gets scarce, the value of gold goes up. If these aren't scarce, or we don't know whether they're scarce or not, or whether there's a demand, supply and demand comes into effect. And your tokens, even though you might told they're scarce, there's no way of gauging it. This is one of the reasons experienced investors pay extremely close attention to withdrawal mechanics inside crypto ecosystems. The moment a platform begins heavy controlling when, how, and under what conditions participants can access value, the risk profile changes dramatically, because at that point, participants are no longer simply holding an asset. They are relying on the platform itself to eventually honor future liquidity and redemption promises under conditions entirely controlled by the ecosystem operator. Now, that was really hard for me to read, and I probably didn't make much sense. So if you really need to, pause the screen and read it yourself, you lazy bastards. Okay. The terminology narrative creates emotional cover. All right. One reason projects like NodeLink attract strong supporters is because the story itself sounds exciting. The company talks about building infrastructure that's supposedly I'm going to have to read it because I'm getting tired. Here we go.
The company talks about building infrastructure that is supposedly too distributed to fail. It promotes a future where ordinary people reclaim power from corporations, banks, and governments through decentralized technology. The messaging is carefully built around ideas like freedom, ownership, empowerment, privacy, and participation in the future internet economy.
It's funny, they didn't use hope or belief or trust. A lot of these, and they haven't used religion yet, but freedom, ownership, empowerment, privacy, and all that is interesting. And it's in the privacy of your own home, this little wee gadget. And psychologically, that frames an psychologically, that framing is extremely powerful, because once people emotionally connect to the mission, skepticism, FOMO, fear of missing out, skepticism often starts disappearing. Participants stop seeing themselves as a customer entering a risky financial ecosystem, and instead begin viewing themselves as part of a movement fighting against outdated systems and centralized control. And that shift matters. Now, interesting enough, when Craig was in there, he said this is only $300 in US only, but you were encouraged to buy, I think, 100 units eventually, and they're telling you it's only $300. So they've found that sweet point where, like WeWe Global, I know people that have invested $50,000 or their whole pension into WeWe Global. And then all of a sudden it's rebranded into the blockchain era, and now X Pro. And now I see this other stupid thing coming out called NodeLink, which will be a side hustle on the side of one of these bigger projects. Because once belief becomes ideological, is it? Ideological?
Ideological.
Yeah, not far off. Criticism becomes much easier to dismiss. Ignorance, anti-crypto thinking, doesn't understand how it works. Fear of innovation, you don't like change. Or attacks from the old system. Oh, you just, what's wrong with, if it's not broke, don't touch it. I've seen this exact pattern repeatedly across multi-level marketing, passive income ecosystems, and decentralized finance projects over the years. The terminology narrative becomes the emotional shield protecting the compensation structure underneath it. And far more futuristic the language becomes, AI infrastructure, decentralized compute, digital sovereignty, community-owned networks, unstoppable ecosystems, the easier it becomes for ordinary people to overlook the actual economics driving the platform. Use common sense, people. Does it sound easy or too complicated? Eventually, the conversation stops revolving around the I can't even read that. We're going to have a go. I'm getting tired.
Audited revenue,
Yes.
commercial demand, sustainable business activity, and external customers.
You know, the thing about these systems, so they all have a corporate image, but if this was a corporate company and you had shareholders and you had dividend meetings and all this sort of carry on, you'd be able to ask those curly questions and it wouldn't be frowned across. I couldn't ask that guy Craig any questions the other day in his Zoom meeting. He wouldn't answer them. He didn't even know the answers to me. He didn't even care about it. But this is a corporate-looking company without any corporateness. Is there a word? And starts revolving around belief. You have to believe the system. You have to have faith. Belief is the vision. Belief is the future. Belief that early participations are getting positioned before the mass adoption arrives. The emotional momentum is incredibly powerful inside crypto communities because people do not want to feel like they are missing the next technological revolution. Now, I can't even say that word properly, but
technological.
Richard was talking about it earlier on. He was mentioning about fear of missing out. I mean, imagine if this is the next best this is, everyone always says it in all these presentations. They talk about no one believed Bitcoin would become anything. Well, there's been, I don't know, I'm guessing, I'm going to say 100,000 new tokens and crypto coins produced since Bitcoin was released, and none of them have got to the same status as Bitcoin. So the fact that you're going to miss out is like getting hit by lightning. The chances of this taking off and being the next big thing is, in my opinion, absolutely 0.00000.1.
And then also, Danny, so you take the Bitcoin, the one coin by itself, and then the thousands of other coins that people got scammed over, right?
Yep.
How much money of all the, currencies of all the nations of the world, how much money through all of the scams since Bitcoin has been, pumped with the dollar and all the other currencies, how much dollars of all the currencies of the world have been scammed in that amount of time?
Yeah, and I get you.
When you look at that as the reality, it's like, who freaking cares about Bitcoin anymore?
Yeah, there's a bigger scam going on, and that's so true. Yeah,
economy is scammed away.
Yeah,
and nobody wants to wake up to that being the harsh reality. So wake the freaking heck up and go take your freaking promoter, your leader, to small claims court.
Yeah. So the person that's recruiting you into it is a scam, and that's as simple as it is. I mean, it's like me winning lotto and sitting here and saying that everyone should buy a lotto ticket. But how many people buy lotto tickets and don't win? The odds of me sitting here telling you that, no one thought I would win lotto, is the same. But you rush out and buy a lotto ticket, you lose your money. It's just crazy. But true. Go for it.
I don't know how it's in New Zealand, but I think I'm pretty sure in the States, because each state has its own state lottery, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in Illinois right now. I think what happens is that the state licenses the state lottery, they have like a $2 mega ball or whatever they call it. So the state individually allots for a certain budgeted amount that can go through the state lottery in a year. So all that money to make it all the way up to, $500 million for the lottery, that does not come from the mom and pop, grocery store where they're putting a $20 bill or a couple $100 into the lottery and they lose, the money doesn't just go up from that. I think the money comes from something else, state by state. So the analogy that you want to be able to, hurry up and get the lottery ticket because it's going to work. It's going to work. And you're always sold that it's going to work. And you got to do it now because of fear of missing out. You're not going to be able to get it later on. Well, what about building up? So where does the money actually come from? Are you paying for it to become a bigger scam? Or are you freaking doing anything, wisely with your own money? It always comes back to the promoter, the leader of these things, thinking that they're getting away with something, and it's always the same crap. They're just repackaging it, repackaged, rescaled, whatever the word is. The technical jargon.
Oh, the technical jargon is actually same shit, different day. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right, we're going to carry on. Let's go.
But throughout all of these investigations, I keep coming back to the same question: where does the money actually come from? Because no amount of futuristic branding, decentralization rhetoric, or emotional storytelling changes the basic economic reality underneath a system.
Right, and then we're going to read this whole paragraph.
The all-in-one ecosystem raises even more questions. NodeLink also claims the Nx1 device replaces thousands of dollars worth of subscriptions through bundled services supposedly included with participation. The company promotes encrypted browsing, AI-powered security tools, phishing detection, ad blocking, family protection tools, virtual payment cards, decentralized storage, secure routing, and future smart home integrations. One of the most eye-catching claims is the so-called hash discovery engine, where the Nx1 supposedly contributes SHA-256 computations to the Bitcoin network. If a valid Bitcoin block is discovered, the reward goes directly to the participant's wallet. Technically speaking, this is possible, but context matters. Modern Bitcoin mining is dominated by enormous industrial ASIC mining farms, operating with staggering amounts of computational power. A tiny low-power consumer device has an astronomically small chance of discovering a Bitcoin block. The company does acknowledge the odds are low, but the feature functions more like a psychological marketing hook than a realistic mining opportunity. It taps directly into the same emotional trigger used across countless speculative crypto projects.
That's crazy. So I don't know if you noticed that when I flipped over to that screen, it showed you all the money that you're going to save. If you have 5 people over a 5-year cost, it talks about all its other services. I would love to see what insurance. So these companies are claiming they're going to save me from AI security and threat protection, ad and tracker blocking, child and family online protection, smart home LOT, whatever that is, hash discovery engine, whatever that is, password manager. So all those services are going to be saved by you purchasing one of these stupid computers. All right. And there's no proof of it. And I don't even know how it works.
What if I get lucky? The same concerns apply to many of the promised future services: cybersecurity infrastructure, payment systems, AI filtering tools, decentralized routing networks, and fintech ecosystems require enormous operational resources behind the scenes. Yet much of NodeLink's ecosystem still appears heavily future-focused, with repeated references to services rolling out in 2026 or arriving in future phases. That distinction matters because future roadmap promises are not evidence of present viability.
Yeah, so they're selling a service that doesn't even exist. And I think if you read this, once privacy and security services are launched in May, the discount for the will no longer be available. I don't even know what that means, but obviously when I put that into ChatGPT, it actually said basically they're claiming they've got services that aren't available yet, which has got to give you peace of mind to sign up, because we're going to have we're going to have hoverboards in the future. So all those scooters that you see around the world at the moment with wheels on them, we're going to be discovering a hoverboard that floats on top of the pavement. But that's what we're going to use to market ourselves to you at the moment, because that technology is off the scale. That's the same sort of stuff that I'm not saying they're making hoverboards, but what I'm saying is this is what they're doing. They're making claims about stuff that they haven't got finished yet, as if the sale pitch of where they're going with their technology. So it's just nothing's verified, no claims, no substance to what they're saying. It's like hamburgers. You can eat a greasy hamburger with fat dripping off it. That's actually going to help you lose weight. But the technology isn't there yet, but we'll get it there. Don't you worry. Something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The real risk here is, I want to be clear, I'm not claiming that NodeLink is definitely a scam. At this stage, ChatGPT tells me to say that, so you can't sue me. Okay? So I'm not saying it's a scam. Do your own due diligence. I'm not responsible for what you do with your money. Just don't give it to them. At this stage, there are still unanswered questions, which I would like answered, but when I email them, nothing happens. But there is also undespicable patterns. Undespicable patterns?
But there are also undeniable patterns that experienced investigators should recognize immediately.
Right. Passive reward systems, recruitment incentives, locked token mechanism, referral structures, organization ranks, delayed withdrawals, internal utility balances, and highly emotional future tech marketing. So if I said to you, let's line up a whole lot of scams, and I had a tick box for each of them, and I said, it looks like it's got the hallmarks of a scam, these are the things that we look out for. And it's in this particular opportunity, we can see all those red flags waving in the breeze. I actually feel a gale force wind coming off those red flags that this company's doing. It's like, oh my God, this has got a lot of red flags. How many red flags do you need before you say, halt? I'll get the supervisor. The real danger is that ordinary people may emotionally buy into the dream long before the underlying economics are actually proven sustainable, especially once recruitment accelerates. Everybody's doing it, so it must be right. That's why the last big scam that we busted claimed they had 900,000 participants. 900,000 participants. That's what they claimed. No verifiable proof of that, but because there's 900,000 people doing it, I'll do it as well. And that's why we don't want these schemes to get traction. And as we looked before on the website, we actually looked at their computer, whatever it was, and they actually showed you their network. And now we'll go back to this network, and we're now starting back again at 4,500 people. If I sit here long enough, these active nodes will grow up to 5,000 people like they were yesterday. And look, we're now in 39 countries. And I think at the end of yesterday, it was 80. And half an hour ago, when I was looking at this page, there was 61 countries. Oh, so all these countries are now popping up. And look, all these computers are now all linking together as a big network. Now, this graphic for the untrained eye would think, wow, look at this, Mum. These are all the people who've got nodes all around the world. Wonder if we can click in here and see where Danny's node is. This is bullshit. And this is false. False. And in case you've just tuned in and you're just looking at this, we're going to get past, somehow you've got to get past this green screen, which is a lot of hard work. There's, now I got past it. And then you're going to see your little wee computer sitting here that you can play with if you want. And then, you can go to this again. Here we go.
Never seen something like this? You need to install it at your home. Never seen. Hey guys, this is amazing. Unused bandwidth becomes useful stuff.
Oh, wow.
I installed this small device at home and my life is changed. Discover how. I installed this.
Never seen something like this. You need to install it at your home. Never seen something like this. Understand the city, even worriedly, Horace. This never seen something like this. You need to.
Now, you might think that's funny, because I do, but I've literally, the same company that's associated with WeWe Global, I have seen serious business people put all their money into this scam. You know, and I've had family members ring me up from Australia saying that my parents have just put all my inheritance into WeWe Global. And now they're realizing that may be a scam. And now I see this scam diversifying into stupid, little wee or let's call them side hustle scams within this whole environment. It's just breathtaking to think, because originally WeWe Global attracted all these business people who thought they knew better. all that money's gone. Because once your friends, family members, Telegram groups, influencers, and community leaders begin promoting these systems emotionally, skepticism tends to disappear. People stop asking hard questions and start focusing on how quickly can they position themselves before the wider adoption arrives. I've seen this pattern too many times before, as I just mentioned. Sometimes projects like this evolve into legitimate niche technology. Now, that is not correct.
Sometimes projects like this evolve into legitimate niche technologies.
Never. I don't know. I'm going to take that paragraph out because that is bullshit. I have never seen any of these. That's misleading. Go for it, Rich.
She did, I'm going to bitch slap her for a second.
I reckon.
She did so good up until that.
I know.
Like you said, oh, I don't want to have to call it a scam because I don't want to get sued. But I'm on the line and I get to call it a scam. They're a freaking scam. And if I don't be the one to call it a scam, okay, say they want to sue me. I get to bring it into evidentiary because the fact that I can trace this to the previous 3 or 4 other scams, now they have to show the validity of their corporation to begin with, and they'll never do it.
Yeah.
So they don't have a place in the court. That's why you, as an avenger, you got to get your butt in the court. You got to bring the freaking claim because then they'll back down.
Yeah. What he said.
Resist the enemy and he will flee. That's all you got to do is just stay on the truth.
Yeah, I'm nearly finished, Rich. I can go home. I'm already home. These, I've seen these patterns too many times before, and now I've taken out that paragraph. They collapse under the weight of unrealistic economics, recruitment dependency, and unstable reward obligation long before the futuristic vision ever becomes a reality. And right now, the deeper I dig into NodeLink, the conversation plan, the internal token system, reward structures, recruitment mechanics, and evasion responses from promoters when difficult questions get asked, and they weren't that difficult, like who's actually using your services at the moment, the more this looks less like a breakthrough decentralized infrastructure and more like a highly engineered ecosystem where the story may ultimately prove far more valuable than the actual technology beneath. Wow. That is, so that was actually quite a massive investigation for such a poor example of a scam. I'm sort of disappointed that I've actually spent so much time just showing you this because from my perspective and my technology, we obviously produce a few little ebooks. We've just had one released today where that if you're sitting here looking at all your inheritance money and you're thinking about investing it, please download one of my ebooks and read to your heart's content. Because for me and my Avengers, we just look at stuff like this as a joke. And if, like Richard said, if you took all the money that people invested with Bitcoin, the amount of scams that have come out of, the crypto world, and I'm not saying that crypto is a scam, but they're using the terminology used in crypto to confuse people. So, and they don't fully understand the decentralized blockchain, the nodes and the minting and all those sort of terminology, which are to do with crypto. They use that crypto to create something as simple as just multi-level marketing. And it's not, you don't need a box of rocks to understand what they're doing. They're basically going out there and selling you something that you perceived is worth of value. And now because they can hold up a little wee computer and tell you that this computer is going to change the world, and you can have this computer for $300 that you can buy on what do they call it? On AliExpress for $80, that you're getting something of value, and you give them $300, and then what they do is they divvy that up to all the people that are promoting it, and that's where your money's going. And this here doesn't generate any income, nothing at all. If it does, it's an app it's a bit of software on the box telling you that you're looking at a fake dashboard. Now, if you're driving down the road in Richard's truck, Richard's probably sleeping in the back of his truck right now. But if you're driving down the road in your big 18-wheeler truck and the speedo tells you you're doing 200 miles an hour and you still can have a little wee look around like you're not really focused on the road, then your speedo is reading fake numbers to you. So wake up and look out and stop and get out and walk around your truck for a wee bit to make sure that your speedo isn't lying to you, because these fake dashboards are deceiving a lot of people who don't realize that it's just fake dashboard numbers. Don't believe it and don't speed in your truck. Something like that.
That's why I've fallen out of the truck many times, whether I was dreaming or not. Wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, the truck's not even moving.
Yeah.
Because it's not a freaking vision for a financial future and abundance. And it's all a scam. It's multi-level lie marketing.
Yep.
It all comes back to marketing.
Yep.
You're being sold a bag of goods.
Yeah.
And people lose their lives for it.
Yeah. And the only people making the money are the people that are selling it to you. And if they were doing so damn well like they tell you, then they wouldn't be stuck behind a Zoom meeting. And if you know that Zoom has this policy, Section 8 policy of Zoom, if you search Section 8 Zoom multi-level marketing on Google, you'll find that you're actually not allowed to use Zoom to sell multi-level marketing. It's against their user terms policy. So that if these people have no respect for the terms and conditions of something like Zoom, if they've got people promoting it who actually pay people to create a persona on their LinkedIn profile with somebody standing beside a Rolls Royce, if you go to their website and they've got fake testimonials by AI characters claiming to be in Italy when they're not even in Italy, if you go to their website and they show you nodes all around the world looking like they're technically working and it's all fake, then why the hell would you believe the person that's selling you something and taking your money? There's better things you can do with your money. You can support myself and the Avengers by donating a coffee if you've enjoyed this presentation today. I'm done, Rich. You done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a closing argument?
That was it. I'm done. I'm ready to press stop, and it's like 6:30 at night, and I've been streaming since 1 o'clock this afternoon, so that's 5 hours, 5.5 hours streaming. That's too many.
Not is the fact that AI is phenomenal for this, this particular lecture hall, because what we have in our hands is all the technology in the world, and people are giving their life savings over to these scammers instead of doing something with their own two hands, their own money that they've already worked for. And we just keep coming and coming and coming back to the same point that you don't need to lose your money. Every single the analogy that you reiterated that I was pointing out about the amount of money that has been lost to scams and the amount of money that has been backing Bitcoin. If all of that has been scammed, instead of being scammed, you took all of these crafty ideas, all the psychology, all the technology, all the numeric freaking value to the dollar for dollar, along the way for 15, 20 years. And you put all that money in all of the hands to a good or to a service. What would the world be like? What is the world supposed to be like? That is the question. And nobody's going to wake up tomorrow and realize what I just said, but you got to freaking wake up now and do something about it, because they're starving and they're obliterating the future of the children growing up today worldwide. Not just America being the worst, not just, Africa, India are the culprits. The head of the dragon needs to be slain, because these people, these scammers, are not getting away with it. They think that they're getting craftier all the time, and we just keep coming around that curve. Like, are you kidding me? You people suck at this. Get a bigger Ponzi. I'm done.
Yeah.
Done.
It's quite good. It's a good comment. It's just come online. Thank you very much for that, by the way. And I've just stuffed that up. Let's see if I can make that smaller. It says Whale Miner 1788 says that NodeLink is a basic PC running mini Unix with an app running on SHA-56 network, Bitcoin mining and it's basically generating 0.01 a week. So it's basically looking like it's looking like a Swiss watch that's right 2 times a day. If that makes sense. But it's like it's just making it look like it's doing something, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I'll just put that comment up again so you can all have another read. But I think the other thing which is really sad about this scam, because I know the origins and the original people that were promoting this scam, and the fact is they go after the retired money. They go after people that are 65 and above. And literally the people that I've been trying to stop from WeWe Global to the blockchain era and XPro are the retirees. And they think they're investing in future technology and they're doing something well with their retirement money. But the reality is they've lost it all. And then the denial actually, they just don't want to believe it. I've had family members, literally telling them they can't get through to their mum and dad. They just want to believe the technology no matter what. But that's been going for 3.5 years now, and they haven't been able to get their money out of it, and they keep rebranding the company. And this was only, I believe, the side hustle of what they were doing or an exit strategy to keep the illusion alive. And it's really disgusting what they're doing. And they've tried everything to get my videos offline in the past. I even just had one the other day. They had some copyright claim where the whole my video was claimed as copyright, and I couldn't actually do anything but remove the video. But that video was like 18 months old, and it only had I think about 400 views. So I rather than me trying to figure out how they've managed to get one of my videos not copyright strike, but another thing where the whole video was claimed I was using somebody else's copyright from a real bogus, shady, black alien company, like the dark web stuff. I just let it go. So, these companies, who's actually really running them? That's the question. And why would you support companies that you don't know who's really behind it? Like, where are their offices? I mean, this is the other question I asked this guy from day one. I think it'd be interesting to know. It has nothing at all to do with using your internet bandwidth. Yeah, no, I don't believe for a second this box actually does anything. Yeah, but it's good for you to give us the backing on that one. And that's the truth of it. This box does nothing. Yeah, it plugs in, and it probably has a wee light that makes you feel like you've plugged into something. So I believe that you'll probably be able to bring up the IP address and look at the software that they've installed in these boxes. And the software will give you the illusion that you're doing something. And I think they must have something where you can log in. So, I mean, I can only give you an example of something right here on my screen right now, and I'll just bring it up because my camera battery is about flat. But if I lose you, I'll turn off the camera and you'll just hear my voice. But I want to show you something similar to give you an idea of what type of software they may be using. Right, so I'm going to go into, this is my software. I know it's my face, but I've got a control panel. I've got a fire station. So in here, this is actually a box that's on my shelf. And this is where I keep my documents. And it's basically, this is software for my Syntec something or other, and this is where I store my videos. This is my network, so all this stuff here is, I could log into this on that wee box and look at something similar to this, and it would theoretically give me the illusion that I've got something clever. But I know that this is just where I manage my files, and You know, it's just ridiculous. And that's what these wee devices sometimes have, is some wee thingy that you can log into and look at something, doing something, and you're meant to, you are still going. Yeah, I know. Chuck's here. It's,
With the cell phone thing at the time, it's not like you got the cell phone and you could use it as a cell phone. They had you buy the thing. Some people never got it. They were just waiting in anticipation to receive it. Some people played the game. They acted along with the scam, and they presented like they had the phone, but they never like turned it on for the future financial success of it. So, example is it's the same thing. They're just rebranding it, repackaging it, reconfiguring the schematics of what's inside the package.
yeah, I think we showed it the other day when we looked at that website and we found the code of how it just, you know, gives you a veneer that the figure goes up. Was it the UG something or other thing that we did? Oh, there it is. There. Yeah, so we found this website the other day, and this figure, oh, literally, it's gone down. So this was $17 million worth of liquidity the other day. But what we found is every 5 seconds, this website goes up. So people think it's real. But when you right-clicked on it and went to inspect, we actually found the code that runs, runs what they're claiming. I don't know where it was, but here was the instructions on, the code that made that number disappear. So people would think this is plugged into the blockchain, but it's basically just code on the website. And is that what you mean? I mean, if you think, if we had it wrong, and let's just say that we are wrong, then please correct us and give us validation that you actually are doing what you're claiming to do, because there's no validation anywhere on the website. The box doesn't prove you're doing anything clever. And we want to know who's actually using your services and who's the companies that actually, like, let's just use NordVPN, for example. You claim that people are using these boxes as VPNs. Well, what company is using your technology? It's not rocket science. It's DX science. All right, guys.
All right, man.
I'm going to call it quits. I think we've driven this one home, but we will release this as a standalone video, and it won't be 5.5 hours long. It will probably be about 2 hours long. And thank you to Richard. Richard's called the Red Raptor, and we shouldn't call him Richard. We should call him the Red Raptor. And it's nice to see Chuck on here in the chat room. Nice to see you here. And thank you to Whale Miner for, do you think the scam is buying the box? Can you, the scam is multi-level marketing. That's what the scam is, and it's recruitment, and that's all the scam is. The box is just nothing. The box has nothing to do with if the box never turned up, it's not gonna make you money. You don't make your money when you plug it into your Wi-Fi. In fact, you wouldn't want to plug it into Wi-Fi. So the scam is actually the money. The $300 US is enough for them to divvy up the money to all the other promoters. If you get the $80 box that it costs for the hardware, at the very least, at least you might have a mini computer that you can use to run a spare screen in the house that might display a clock. But other than that, it's a very low. It's not even. I've actually looked at buying one of those little wee computers, and for $1,000 you can get something that's beefier enough if you want an i7 one, and technically I could use it for broadcasting. And that's what I was actually looking at. Or one stage was to buy a box that did something intelligent in the house where I could merit having a spare computer. And then I would have my external screen and my Bluetooth keyboard connected to it. And voila, I didn't have to spend $3,000 to $4,000 on a beefy computer. I just bought the hub. But these computers are like $80 off AliExpress, for God's sake. So you've got $220 left. And who knows if they've bought a container load of these leftover computers that were outdated 5 years ago? Who knows? And they're just using them as a facade.
They never bought them in their life. They don't have to have a shipping container. They're going to white label it, like you said earlier. They just, if you sign up, they have a freaking link for Temu.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's right. That's probably a drop shipping device. They'll drop ship you a piece of hardware, and we saw the logo on it already. We actually saw. Oh, here we go. I've got it right. I've got. So look at this.
I installed this small
What's this?
Never.
This lady here.
Never
This one
seen
here.
something like this.
See, the logo on the box isn't even theirs.
You need to install it at your home. Never seen something like this.
Right, and
Hey
this
guys,
one.
this is amazing. Unused bandwidth becomes useful stuff.
Now that's with it. Now look at the size of her
Hey
hand.
guys,
Okay, so you look at the size of her hand. Right, these are all AI, but the size of her hand holding out the box
Never
versus
seen
this
something.
one.
Never seen something like this.
It's smaller, right?
You need to.
This
hey
one
guys,
is bigger.
this is amazing. Unused bandwidth becomes useful stuff.
Stuff.
Never seen something like this. You need to install it at your home.
you need to give me your money so you can put this in your house.
All right, I'm out of here. I'm busting to go to the loo. I'm going to wet my pants in a minute if I don't go, and I've got to take the dog for a walk. It's been an awesome time. So after all that bad introduction, what is it? Oh, gotta go. Hey, thanks everyone. Go away, that lady. She keeps coming back. I never ever want to know anything more about But hey, look, if you have invested in NodeLink and you've had a good experience, please let us know. But if you've invested in NodeLink and now you realize it's a scam, please let us know. Go to dehek.com, go to the Contact Us page and tell us your experience. DEHEK.com is my website, and you can submit information to me anonymously via my contact page. And I look forward to hearing about your experience. And if you have started changing the world, I'd like to know more about it. But we'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Danny DeHek and the Avengers. We rule the world. Woo! Let's go. Let's go. See you. Bye, guys.